Hello everybody, it's me Deflocktion, and today I'm going to be doing a gameplay commentary. Today we're going to be talking about one of the most important necessities of any multiplayer video game, teamwork. This is something that has bothered me throughout my entire gaming career, from the moment I've ever played a multiplayer game, is how unwilling people are to be a team. They don't really like to work together. They always seem to argue with each other. And every game I'm in just seems to be just people complaining and arguing and yelling at each other. One example is this gameplay you're seeing right now is Team Fortress 2, but there are many other examples besides this one. A big example, even though it seems like a very unglaring opportunity or example, is Call of Duty. And it might seem like a really weird example, but listen to me out. I don't really see a lot of teamwork done in these type of games like Call of Duty, and it just seems to be that people like to go off on their own and do their own thing. Oh my God. I don't like this, because you could get a lot more done as a team instead of doing your own thing and going off. Now, if you're good enough and you can do well enough for the team on your own, then that's pretty good. If you have those skills, then you could use them to the best of your ability. But if you're not that good at a game, then you should try to stick with your team. But a lot of people don't really see this, and they try to go off on their own thinking they're some type of monstrous badass. Oh yeah, I really like that crit rocket, by the way. There's some type of monstrous badass. But you have to realize that each person has flaws and weaknesses. And the reason I use Team Fortress 2 in this gameplay is actually one of the major things that I look at, is that each class in Team Fortress 2 has certain weaknesses. Like, one example is the soldier, which I'm playing as right now. He has ridiculous offensive damage output. He has rockets. I'm using a vanilla loadout right now, regular shotgun, regular rocket launcher, and the shovel. But the thing is that I do ridiculous damage, but I have a slow movement speed. But that is pretty much what counteracts me. I can get lit on fire really easily because I'm slow. Spies can easily backstab me because I'm also slow. And overall, I'm just mostly an offensive character, which is what I am. It's a soldier as an offensive character. Oh man, I love this part too. Rocket jump! And so that's one of the major flaws of the soldier, is that he's really easy to pick off because he's slow. But again, that doesn't mean that I can use him to his best ability, which is offensive maneuvers, and he's also really good for defense because of that offensive maneuvering I have. So that brings up the question is, if you work as a team, does that really benefit you in any way? And the answer is yes. You gain so many benefits from working as a team. Like, for example, the medic healing me while I am shooting at the enemy team gives me an advantage, because that gives me a max of 300 health. So that means I can resist as much onslaught as a heavy, and a heavy can resist so much. Not this one, because that's shotgun them to death. But I can resist so much damage now that me being a slow little bitch doesn't really matter anymore, because I can absorb much more damage. So working as a team can be very beneficial. But then I also am very concerned is, why do people not really realize this? Why do they not really realize that working as a team can keep you alive? And I think it's because we over-assume our own abilities. And that's a big problem for other people, is realizing that they have weaknesses and that they have certain things they need to look out for. Like, I'll come back to Team Fortress 2. That sniper that just picked me off, that's one of my weaknesses, is that I'm very slow, so I can get picked off. So in other games, like Call of Duty, and even things like League of Legends and Dota and other games like that, in every game, each type of person has a weakness. Even if you don't have a very specific, like a stat that gives you a weakness, if you have a weakness as a person, that's also something you need to really realize. So I'll go to one thing is that, I think I'll go with Call of Duty, is that some weapons, you have very bad weaknesses, depending on the weapon. Like, for example, unless you're really good at using a sniper rifle at a close range, then you can't really compare to anyone else in a close range battle because you have a sniper rifle. It's meant for long range. So you have to switch to something like your sidearm, or maybe even use your knife if you can get close enough. But in any situation, if you are not a good player, then having a sniper rifle isn't your best option. So you have to realize this and adapt to the situation, maybe by changing the type of perks you have, or by changing the type of attack you use. And another thing is, it leads me to this, is try to figure out what your playing style is. What do you do well, and what do you do not so well? You find out these strengths you have, and you build these strengths, but you also have to know your weaknesses. The more you play something, the more you'll know the strengths and weaknesses of how you play. That way you can counteract things that counter what you do. So here's an example. I'm playing as a medic. My job is to heal all the other players and make sure they don't die, because if they die, the big result is usually that I'll die as well. So see how I heal this heavy, and then we go out and I heal him, so I keep him from dying from this fire. Now my weakness is pretty much what just happened there, was that if I get attacked more than 100, well, at least almost, I'd say 50% of the time, you will die. If I'm on my own and there's no one to help heal me, if there's not a health pack around to heal me, or there's no teammates to attack the other players, then I'll probably die, because I have low HP of about 150, and if I'm healing someone, that also makes me vulnerable because I'm not moving. So that's one of my attack damage is very low, so I don't do much. So you have to realize what type of flaws and weaknesses you have as a person, and build on those, or have teammates be something else that strengthens you or counters the counter of whatever you're playing as. So these other classes can attack your friendly that you're healing, and if they kill your little friendly heavy there, then you're pretty much dead, because if you're too close, then they can just attack you and kill you. So what you have to do is try to stay alive. And as a medic, I rarely die as a medic. In this gameplay, I seem to not... Oh yeah, this part just shows how bad the lag was in this server. This was a Valve server, and I was doing very bad in the lag department. I could not even move out of spawn because it was so bad. But back to the point. I can't get over why people don't accept teamwork as a viable option, because you can survive so much more if you work as a team, but people just keep wanting to work together. So working to figure out what your weaknesses are is the #1 thing you should do. But I'm also going to say that working on your own in any type of game, I really don't think that's much of a problem. If you want to go off on your own and die a lot, but you can learn from it, that's completely your choice. You can do that, and I will not resist. If you want to go off on your own and try to kill a few guys, and if you're really good, then I insist that you go off on your own. Because that way you can sneak around and you can get some people that aren't really looking, and you can get into some nice strategic spots, which that's actually another point. If you can go off on your own and get around the enemy team better to get into a position to attack them, then go ahead. That's like the best idea in the world for the team. But if you're not so good on your own, like you're a new player, or you're not using things that are really good to use when you're by yourself, then you should try to stick with a teammate. Something that really helps is try to play with friends that know what they're doing. For example, when I was little and I tried to play Call of Duty, this was when I was about 10 years old, maybe. I found that I really wasn't good at any of the games I was playing. So I had friends that knew how to play this game. Like, how do you play Team Fortress 2? How do you play League of Legends? How do you play Call of Duty? I would have them show me how to play. I would play with them so I can get better at the game. Also, there's a lot of things in Team Fortress 2 that makes me mad. For one thing, in Team Fortress 2, when you're on fire, there's only two ways to get rid of the... Well, there's three ways to get rid of the fire. Either extinguish it in water, collect a health pack, or an enemy pyro can air blast you. Now, these seem really simple, but the one thing that makes me entirely mad is when there's no health pack, or no water, or anything to extinguish me, and then a friendly pyro walks by and does not extinguish me. This is one problem that needs to be fixed, is that pyros don't really remember that you can extinguish... I rarely remember that I can extinguish teammates. And it's something that I really wish I could remember, but it's really hard to remember that I can extinguish teammates. So I think a lot of teammates have died from this. So I have to remember a lot of stuff, which is understandable. If it's something that you don't use a lot, or a technique that you don't use a lot, then you're bound to forget it. So I have to try to build myself up to remember a lot of things that is very beneficial to the team. So I always think of things that could either keep my teammates alive, or keep me alive, or even maybe defend a certain position the best, or get through. And that is very crucial for a team. And some people don't really accept this idea. And it makes me very upset. I wish people would work together more. Yeah, see, that pyro just extinguished me. That guy knew what he was doing. He saw that I was on fire, and he saw I was a medic, and he healed me. And then I completely die at this point, but that doesn't really... That's something for another time. But I really wish people would know this. And it's really important. See, I wasn't healing my heavy. I decided to try to attack the other heavy, but if I was healing my heavy, I probably would have saved him because I had a quick fix. So, this video is basically to say, I need people to work together more in multiplayer games, especially games that don't really encourage it much. Like, Call of Duty doesn't really, except for maybe zombies or maybe even the new Extinction mode, they don't really require you to work together as much. No, wait. No, that's not what I meant. They require you to work together as a team. You need to work together for a certain goal that both of you want. So, I'm just going to say, try to work together more, even if you don't really want to. This has been Deflocktion, and I'll peace out.